It's UFC London. You heard me right. For the first time in 3 years, UFC London week. We are there at the O2 this Saturday with talkSPORT. But with us today is a very special guest because it's the UFC president, Dana White, in the house on the eve of his flight over to the UK for the first time in a while, I bet. Dana, how are you?
I'm good, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm very excited for some fights. Let's talk about them, shall we? Because,
Let's.
You've got obviously Tom Aspinall at the top of the card, which is great. We've all loved his surge in the heavyweight division. But man, how hard was it to keep this fight going with Volkov in the main event too?
That's always hard, man. Every week we put on fights, we got stuff flying at us left and right. So, nothing harder than the usual, especially when you're a global sport like we are, with 750 athletes. Injuries, sickness, personal problems, visas. The list goes, and the world has lost its mind. There's always something.
And that's the great thing about this main event too, because Aspinall and Tuivasa are not exactly the same, but those two guys, Tuivasa has shown you with Derek Lewis what can happen in that heavyweight division. He's kind of breaking top 5 now. Aspinall surely will probably do the same should he get a victory on Saturday. The landscape of the heavyweights could be changing, Dana.
Yeah, I agree. And this is a fun, exciting fight, especially for Tom in his home country at the O2 Arena in London. The UFC's first time back in 3 years. This guy's on a 7-fight win streak. He's got 9 wins by knockout. He's got 100% finish rate. It doesn't get any better than that.
And you got a great co-main there too with Arnold Allen and Dan Hooker. Now, a lot of people will be familiar with Dan Hooker. He's obviously been in high-profile fights before, but Arnold Allen's kind of quietly come along, right, in this division, and he's put together a great record. Do you think this fight is an opportunity for him to really announce himself? Because he does the bulk of his majority of talking, in the octagon.
Well, he's another one. He's 8-0 in the UFC. He's never been beat since he's been here, which is very, very hard to do. He's on a 10-fight win streak, and he's going in against a guy whom everybody respects, Dan Hooker. You beat a guy like Dan. If you just beat Dan Hooker, if you beat him spectacularly, it's a big deal for Arnold Allen.
Yeah, he's got to be looking at top 5 should he get a victory, right?
Yeah, I would say he'll probably break into the top 6.
Yeah, man. Like I said, big night at the top of the card. But I was speaking to Michael Bisping earlier this week. Shout out to him, by the way. Documentary dropping. I saw you, Dana. I saw you in the doc. This in the next week. And yeah, he was saying that the UK is in the best place it's ever been for MMA right now. And I think that's evidence in the card, right? We've got Paul Craig, who is, his obviously big victory over Jamal Hill, last time was big for him, but he hasn't been able to be active since. And then, of course, we've got Meatball Molly, Paddy Pimblett. Like, there's a load of exciting names that you can now load up these cards, basically, Dana.
Yeah, the talent on this card from the UK is phenomenal. So I'm very excited to see how these fights play out and where these guys end up. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for the UK.
Well, how do you look at Paddy at the moment? Because everyone is so excited about his early journey in the UFC. I always liked your quote where you said, when you met Conor, for instance, I'm not drawing direct parallels, but you saw the stardom in him. Is that kind of stardust hanging around Paddy as well, do you think? Because everybody is attracted to that guy.
100%. Yeah, people love him. And now Paddy's got to get in and put in the work and win the fights, People loved Conor. And Conor came here and did what he set out to do. If Paddy can get in here and win these fights, he'll be a huge superstar.
And speaking of which, Meatball Molly, again, she's got her own documentary dropping this week as well. And she's been very open that she felt a few fights ago, had she not won, her UFC journey might have been over, at least for the time being. How happy does it kind of make you to see that, not only did she turn it around, but she's become one of not only our most beloved fighters, but I think she's kind of grown her own little fan base with just how crazy she likes to get in the octagon.
Yeah, I agree. No, she's fun. She's fun, and obviously it's a big night for her that night too. Yeah. She's like 4-2 in her last 6 fights. So, yeah.
Was she right? Was she on the verge of perhaps Her journey being over?
It's hard to say whether she was on the verge, because we like people that come in and leave it all in there and go for it. You'll notice, people, Sam Alvey, who was just released not too long ago, was on like a 5-fight skid. But this guy would take short notice fights. He'd come in and fight his ass off. Tons of heart, great guy. And we really like people like that. So to say that we would have cut her, it's tough, because she's like right up our alley. We like people like her.
Yeah, absolutely. And finally, I do want to talk about Paul Craig, because Jesus, I mean, 205 is it's a horrible division, man. There's so many killers in there, but he's like the boogeyman because his mat game is so great, as evidenced by that, the armbar last time out. That was, oh God, that'll make you wince. What do you see for him perhaps moving forward in that division? Because he's a great matchup for all these stand-up bangers that you've got there.
Yeah, would you say Paul Craig?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's a fun fight. That should be a good one. I'm hoping stylistically that plays out well and ends up being a really good fight.
Yeah, and like we say, there are so many killers at 205 that, man, like, you've got endless matchup possibilities for him, especially if he keeps winning.
True. So true.
Let's talk some other UFC business. I'm sure you haven't had an interview without Conor McGregor being mentioned in about 5 years. What I love, though, is plotting his return is harder than ever, because you've got Gaethje Oliveira, right? Chandler and Ferguson, great fight as well, which has been signed. You've got Covington wants Poirier, but Poirier wants Diaz. It's like, what do you do with Conor, I guess? Like, have you had any ideas or talks?
Yeah, no, I'm not worried about it, because first of all, Conor's not even fighting now. I mean, he's not coming back till the fall. If everything goes right, he'll be back in the fall. So most of this stuff is going to play out this summer. So whoever wins, loses, however it plays out, when he's ready to go and the doctor clears him, we'll figure out who's next.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure there'll be a long queue as well, so it won't be difficult. But the other thing I want to talk about is we had Israel Adesanya in the studio the other week. Of course, huge star in UFC these days. He had a lucrative deal. So has Masvidal. Talk to us a little bit about that, how UFC have been able to hand out these bigger deals. Like, you must be happy to be able to, reward your top stars.
We always have. That's nothing new. Don't believe what you read on the internet, buddy. when guys, tell me the last time that I lost a guy, that a guy went somewhere else that we wanted to keep.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen.
No,
it never happens, ever. So, believe me, we got this business dialed in. We know who's who and what's what when it comes to the money. And when you get to a certain level and, you get paid.
Yeah.
And, we've never had any trouble re-signing guys, from Brock Lesnar to, you name it.
Yeah, and that's great. I just love the tagline that they had of most lucrative in company history. I think that's just great. And I know that you've got a meeting with Ngannou in the next few weeks or something, right, Francis?
Yeah, he's supposed to come home from Cameroon here pretty soon and get together. Now,
is it a case of the money with Francis, or is it that he wants Tyson Fury and the UFC involved? Like, is it a combination? What's the delicacy in these talks?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that question. We'll keep hammering this thing out until we either figure it out or no.
Yeah. Would you, though, in principally, because you were involved with McGregor and Mayweather, so I know there's a sort of a precedent set for a special fight like that. Would you be open to the idea of being involved with it?
That fight is nowhere near the same fucking universe.
I hear you. I do.
As Mayweather McGregor. Mayweather McGregor is the biggest pay-per-view of all time.
Yeah. Can't deny that. One thing I did want to say as well about the UK, a lot of international shows for the UFC. Now that we're getting back to normality, Dana, it seems, have you got plans to invade Europe, over the coming year, and Abu Dhabi, I guess? But a lot of UK fighters want to know, man, are there going to be some stadium shows down the line? We got a lot of Scousers, Liverpool-based fighters who are gagging for it.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Yeah, I think, the this Saturday is a big deal as far as that's concerned. You know, if these rising stars can win this weekend and continue their rise in the ranks, yeah, we'll see what's possible over in the UK over the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think you'd sell out stadiums easy in the UK, but you're right. If these guys keep winning, that'd be awesome. You know, again, we were talking about this earlier, UK stars. I'm going to be speaking to Darren Till and Leon Edwards this week. Darren's been training with Khamzat Chimaev, we've seen. Wonder how that's going to play out. Are there any ideas of when he might get back in the octagon? Do we know yet?
No, not yet. I haven't even seen him. He's been here. I haven't seen him yet, though. But yeah, he's a brilliant kid. You know, he's out seeking the best guys to train with. You know, when you put yourself in situations where you're getting, you know, you put your ego aside and you go train with these guys that are murdering you every day and beating the shit out of you. That's how you become better. And I have a lot of respect for Till.
Yeah, you have to compliment that. And, you know, the rumor is Edwards, Usman, potentially International Fight Week this summer.
We got to see how Usman's hand heals. When the doctor gives him clearance to go and really start training, then we can book that fight.
Yeah, but I mean, I know you've said this before. Presumably, though, Edwards is the next guy now.
100%. Edwards has done everything we've asked of him, including fighting Khamzat, I think, twice. You know what I mean? Yeah, Edwards deserves a shot.
Also have to mention, you know, you said Brock Lesnar earlier, so I'm just curious here. Now, I cover a fair bit of wrestling in my role as well. When Lesnar showed up in the octagon and he confronted Cormier, I was like, yeah, here it comes. I saw him recently talk about, you know, he thinks he's too old to do it now. What stopped that from happening at the time? Because I know Cormier had a jacked up back, I think he said. So maybe the time delay, is that ultimately what put paid to that fight? Because it would have been great.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with him. He is too old. And it was awesome while he was here. It was fun. Look at what he accomplished. And we were that close to getting that fight done. But yeah, Cormier had really bad back problems around that time.
So is that the case? Like Lesnar was in, but then the longer it went, he couldn't be in?
I don't remember exactly what all the details were, but yeah, I mean, they both wanted to fight each other.
Yeah. How cool is it too? I just want to touch on Khabib. You know, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame this year.
Well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the lasting legacy he's leaving, and now he's training or helping to coach another line of guys that are surging up the rankings. Like he's had a profound effect on the company, all said and done, hasn't he?
Yeah, he really has. Such a great human being. I like him so much personally and professionally. And it's just, he's a guy who is seriously grounded, has his priorities in order. And I think, you know, has obviously accomplished a lot of great things in the sport. And I think he's going to accomplish a lot of great things outside the sport too.
Yeah, agreed. Now, I know you do like your boxing, Dana, so I have to get a prediction from you. Tyson Fury, Dillian White. Have you got any ideas on who you think would win that fight?
I've heard a lot about Dillian White. I don't know enough about him to you know, I don't want to disrespect him and say one thing or the other because I don't know enough about him. But I don't know if I see anybody beating Tyson Fury right now. You know, I think Tyson Fury's the man.
Have you got to know Tyson a little bit?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love the guy. He's a great dude.
I was about to say, you have a penchant for getting to know heavyweight fighters, don't you? Mike Tyson as well seems to be someone who frequents your company.
Yeah. Tyson and I have been friends for a long time. Mike Tyson, that is.
Yeah.
And Tyson Fury, too. I've known Tyson now for probably 5 or 6 years, whatever it is. When he started talking smack about fighting over here, that was when that was when we first met. And he's a great guy, and I'm really happy for him.
Awesome. Dana, I know you're a busy guy, and you've given us some of your time tonight. So thank you so much for talking to talkSPORT. We're going to be in the house at the O2 on Saturday. I can't wait, man. It's going to be electric because the UK has just been absolutely gagging for some fights over here. So thank you very much for coming back over for one. Can't wait to see you guys over here.
Thank you. I'm excited too. See you in a couple days.
Thank you, Dana. Can't wait, brother.